Hello everyone, I'm back again with another video, and it's all about the importance of appearances and social connections with people that may not think like you, they may not be your kindreds, and the importance of keeping a certain image in certain situations and knowing propriety and timing, when and where to display your cultural and your spiritual pride and when not to. Now, imagine me on a business at a business meeting with somebody who may not be as woke as me, or who may not have as much knowledge as me, or at a job interview, and I'm going in there and they're like, so what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not doing this type of work? And I go, well, I like to turn off the lights and look in the mirror and stare back into my soul and see what comes up. And I like to gaze into crystal balls and play with tarot cards. And I like to give offerings and food to my ancestors and leave it underneath trees and meditate. Oh, and I think I see an egun, which is a spirit, behind you, and it has on blue. His name is Clarence, and he's standing with a woman named Edna, and they're saying that you need to stop cheating on your wife. Now, imagine me going into an interview with somebody I don't know very well. They're not so-called woke or culturally aware, and I'm talking like this. Or imagine someone on a date, and they're like, so what do you like to do in your spare time? Well, I like to look at people's cards and look at people's charts. And by the way, what's your birthday? Because I really need to know your north node. Because didn't you tell me that your north node or your Venus is in the 6th house? And see, that could conflict with my Venus and my moon sign, so we may not be compatible. So you may not be seeing me anymore after this date. Can you imagine saying that to somebody, or someone saying that to you? You would probably be weirded out. Just imagine, close your eyes and imagine a time period before you got all this knowledge and you became aware and you're learning all these things, and someone comes at you like that. You probably be like, okay, deuces, I don't ever want to see your weird behind again. Okay, so say for instance you're dating that person and now you're meeting in-laws, and they're like, okay, so what do you do? Well, I read tarot cards for people and I tell them their future, and I light candles to spirits and I help them elevate, and I help lost souls in the spirit realm find their way and find their path. And I like to make gree bags and mojo bags, and I like to throw bones and do things like that, you know, because I'm a very Afrocentric, spiritually, cultural aware woman. Imagine explaining this to some in-laws. There could be some confusion, friction, and some awkward silence in a situation like that. So let me say, it's not about being ashamed, but it's about knowing when and where that you can sabotage yourself. Because if you are in the spirituality and you are proud, you know, when we're learning something new, we can be so enthusiastic that we want to evangelize people, because that comes from the Judeo-Christian mindset, you know, kind of like, you know, Jehovah's Witness, or when someone gets saved, oh yes, I got saved, I got to go save all these souls and make people see things my way. Whereas in African spirituality, it's not so much like that. There's no need to prove anything. There's no need to prove, oh, I can bend a spoon with my mind, or I can go outside my body and astral travel. There's no need to prove that. There's no need to, you know, walk around like, you know, your spirituality is a billboard. It's okay if someone chooses to do that, but you have to understand that, you know, we have something called road opening work. And if you go and you do some road opening work, or you're doing a candle or prayer or a manifestation type of exercise, and you're like, well, I want to get this job position, I want to work with this person because this could open up doors for me to get a business loan or funding. And you go in there talking about all this stuff, and you trying to evangelize them and teach them, and I'm trying to wake everybody up so they can see. And they looking at you all funny, and you miss the opportunity. So you've done all these candles and all of these meditations, and now you have totally tore down everything you have done in the spirit realm, because you have not balanced out things to do socially in the earth realm. Because a lot of times in modern spirituality, especially in African spiritual tradition, they will tell you, well, you don't need nobody but yourself. You need to teach everybody this, and you got to save the lost and the sheep and all of this and that. But the thing is, the African way is not to impose. Impose is a colonial mindset. When you have to impose and evangelize and convert, that's not really the African way. It is not the African way to say, I don't need other people, I can do it all by myself. That is a cave mentality, and I'm not trying to insult anyone or anything. The African way is a village mentality. Now, realizing us being in this place that we are in socially at this time, a lot of people are not aware, and some people's souls have incarnated to not be aware on purpose because their soul is learning about what it is by experiencing what it is not. So everybody that's going to help you and open doors for you is not going to be woke, my dear. Everybody that's going to have your back when you need protection or you need something in a time of need, an emergency, when there's no one else to call, that might be a person who's not so-called woke. That might be your auntie who eats pork chops and pig feet and have white Catholic saints all over her house. You just never know. You never know who you're gonna need. And that's another thing with African spirituality. It's like, once again, on a soul level, respecting people who choose to not want to see certain things, not see certain facts, because you will waste a lot of your precious ashe, energy, good fortune, power on trying to convert people, and you will be putting all that energy into a brick wall, because either they are going to shun you, they're going to judge you, or they just aren't going to listen to what you're saying. They're going to discard what you're saying. Because the biggest way to convert people to your path, if you believe it's right for you, that's my chair moving. The biggest way, if you want to bring people, your loved ones, your sister, your family, your father, your mother, if you want them to see things your way and awaken, the first way is to let your life be an example. If your life is still out of order in certain ways and you are not yet happy, or you have not found your fulfillment, not saying everybody's gonna be happy every day, but if you have not yet found your fulfillment and not yet found your comfort in what you do and your conviction, then they're not gonna wanna hear what you're saying. They probably will mock you and go, well, that stuff ain't even working for you. Why are you doing this? Believe me, I went through that. And also, getting into my personal life, I went through a time period where I had to have the biggest head wraps. I had the thickest dreadlocks. I mean, I didn't even go to a loctician and get them locked. I let mine form into ropes. I was all the way about that life. Once again, Erykah Badu, the big head wraps, all of that. I was into all of that. And I would wear my Afrocentric pieces and my necklaces. I would wear them. I wanted everybody to see. I wanted to be a walking billboard. Do you hear me? When I first got Alekis, Koyades, which are the Orisha beads, my first time, I was so proud. I would always be wearing them if I'm at the grocery store, going to the family dinners with my necklaces on. And they got to a point where they were like, can we eat her food? Because you know I love to cook. Can we eat her food? Is she gonna put something in our food? Because they didn't know at the time. This was before the trend said. This is before Beyonce made hearing about Oshun and Yemoja Oke. This is before you know, this big rush of people liking Fela Kuti the musical and this big burst of the African Renaissance and spirituality. This is before that time period. So I also had locks before Lil Wayne came out. So people were looking at me like, you from the South? And you got your hair like that. Why you want to wear your hair like that? You slow. What's wrong with you? Oh my goodness! I had to prove everything. When I first received SU, and I was coming back from Miami in the airport. I had my SU in my purse, and I was going through the checkpoint in the airport. And they were like, well, what's this? And I'm sitting there telling them, that's SU. He's the road opener. He's an Orisha. A lot of people don't understand. And we got to give him cigars on Monday. We got to spit some gin on him. I was sitting there really talking to the checkpoint people about all of this. And my friend who went with me was like, girl, one day you're going to mature and you're not going to be trying to put all this out there like a billboard. And so, yes, things have changed a lot. The way I pack my Orisha if I have to travel is different. I don't feel the need to, I'm not ashamed, I'm very proud, or else I wouldn't have this channel. I don't feel the need to wear my necklaces on display. I can tuck them in my shirt. I don't feel the need to explain what my ceremonial names mean, because people are like, why are you always changing your name? You have an identity crisis? And I'm like, no, those names have a meaning. I didn't ask for those names. When you receive something in African spirituality, especially Isheshe, they are going to give you a name every time you receive something. So a lot of people, they don't understand that. And once again, you will waste a whole heap of energy trying to explain to people why you do what you do, whereas the first people who are your top priority to teach are your children. Number one, first of all, getting yourself in order, getting your own house in order. Then next, your children. You reach for your children and you teach them. And then if people come to you, they flock to you and they're like, well, what does that mean? And they're respectful, they're not trying to be facetious or funny. Well, what does that crystal mean right there? Why is it pink? What does that rose quartz mean? Or what does that clear quartz mean? What's the difference? They come to you asking questions, and they see your life being in balance in a certain way. Then you can share things with people. But trying to beat them upside the head with this new knowledge because you're so enthusiastic and you got to go evangelize and convert people, that's not often the way. That will work against you faster than it will work for you. Excuse me, let me take a sip of this tea. Whew, my voice is real delicate at this time. So anyway, can you imagine me seeing a Sarah or somebody seeing a frat and being like, girl, I see your aura, it's so dirty and murky, and ooh, let me put this sage on you, and girl, let me splash some Florida water on you. Girl, I just see, ooh, girl, what is that spirit behind you? Doing all of this kind of stuff and, dramatic. It's just as bad as that auntie who is over churchy, over religious, and always preaching to people, and people hate to see her coming. People will get to the point they hate to see you coming because they know you're going to be preaching all loud and stuff. It's the same thing. It's not a need to do that. Once again, your spirituality, your relationship with the Most High, with the Creator, your higher self, your guides, your ancestors, is personal first and foremost. There's a time when you have to have your own personal closet space, prayer closet space, metaphorically speaking, in order to develop that relationship before going out there trying to convert people and change them. Another thing is trying to convert your mate or your loved one to believe what you believe. This spirituality, we don't believe in, oh, you're unequally yoked if your mate is not in this with you. It just depends on the person's individual life path. It's not going to be for everybody. There's a way to do this and be like, okay, honey, this is what this is. This is my special prayer closet space, and so on, so forth and so on. And as long as they respect it and they don't touch anything, and then you're good to go. It's not the same thing as, well, you have to be a Muslim because I'm Muslim, and you have to be a Christian because I'm Christian, and you have to be in this denomination. It's not like that. It's very fluid. As a matter of fact, there are people who still practice their religious traditions that they grew up in, believe it or not. I know that sounds absurd to some people, because they could have had an ancestral tie to that, and they have to complete that. So their ancestors may request that they visit a mosque one more time or visit a church one more time, and they end up getting something big. Like, say for instance, someone could have a misa and it could say, well, your grandmother wants you to go to church. She has something she wants to gift you. There's an inheritance, or there's some money coming to you, and all she wants from you, she don't want no coffee, unsalted fried chicken, biscuit. She wants you to go to church. One time, just one time. I know you don't believe in it. She just wants you to go in her honor. And then a week later, this person ends up getting something big from this ancestor that's promised to them. Or something may come up in somebody's misa. Maybe they grew up Muslim, and it's like, well, you have your father or your grandfather. He wants you to go to the mosque for this month because he has something he wants to do for you. Because an ancestor may want to help you by you going to do something based on the religious paradigm that they were in. And that does not mean that you are not practicing Ifa or Orisha faith. Because first of all, your ancestors are always your root. No matter how unwoke you may think they were, they're still your elders. Your parents are still your elders. If they were good to you and they would be there for you when a so-called woke person wouldn't, if you're in the emergency room and somebody needs to come see about you, or you're on a hard time and you need help, That pig feet eating auntie, uncle, or grandmother or mother, that may be the first person to come save your life, as unwoke as they are. So this is to say again, just like we said in E5 Faith, you never know who you're gonna need. Never look down on somebody because they choose to stay in a certain paradigm and they choose to take a different path than you. You may know more, you may sense more, you may be more open-minded, but they are still a soul. They are still divinity having a human experience, and it's not really for us to judge them, because just like they're judging you, you're judging them, and that's not evolution to judge, because the focus should be on self first, your own personal journey, focusing on self without being selfish. And I don't know if I've said this yet in this video, but another thing that's not the African way, my dears, is, oh, I can do it all by myself. I don't need nobody. Forget everybody. I'm gonna step on whoever. That is not the African way. That's the cave way. No offense to anybody or anything. The African way is a village mindset. It's a social mindset, and everybody in the village does not have to agree on certain spiritual things and this and that. Yes, it's better when people are on the same page, but your village, it may be your family who's not so-called woke. So you're just gonna discard people. If they're not toxic, you're gonna discard them because they choose not to be as enlightened as you, because you're a star seed and they're not, or you're the one who's supposed to redeem the family bloodline. You're gonna just throw them in the trash. And what if you need them? You've thrown them in the trash, and now you have nobody else to turn to because all your woke buddies are, they saying deuces at your darkest hour. And then what? So now you've thrown away good friendships and relationships. And I would say, if they want to distance themselves from you, and if friends outgrow you, let them do it. But it's not a need to explain everything to the elders, to your family, and oh, mama, look at this ancestor altar I got. They don't need to see all that all the time, to be honest with you. It's not about being deceitful. It's not about lying. It's not about being ashamed if they want to ask questions, but it's personal. That's kind of like, it's the same thing. This is a very kind of personal analogy. It's like saying, oh, mom, I got this new intimate toy, or I got this new, I'm taking pole dancing classes, or I'm taking, everything is not needed to be explained at the family dinner table. And it's the holiday season, whether you honor the holidays or not. Everything ain't meant for the dinner table when you gather with your family at the family reunion. It just is not. It's not news. It should not be breaking news. Once again, your spirituality is personal. Are you trying to connect spiritually and align with yourself and your destiny? Or are you trying to prove to your parents and your family and your old friends that you're better than them, and that you know more than them, and that they're beneath you, and you finally have something that you vibe with, and you have an advantage over them? Is it something to parade? Because that's ego. That's not evolution, that's ego. But I digress. The African way is a village mindset. It is not an isolation mindset to where, oh my God, I don't need to be bothered with people and this and that. No, we need each other. And once again, not only do we need our kindreds, we need people in high and low places that can open doors for us and help us. Because once again, you're doing all this candle work and you're doing all this manifestation work, and you could close your doors by your appearance, coming to an interview or a business meeting, and you got your necklaces all out and this and that, and you smelling like sage, and my name is Shaka Musa, all these other things. Going in there like that, it can open or close a door for you, because realize people have the right to be as ignorant, and when I say ignorant, it means to be unaware. They have a right to be as ignorant and as uninformed as they choose to be. That does not make them totally unvaluable, because they could be great at business. They could be great at raising money. They could be great at doing other things that could benefit you. So be careful of throwing people away. Everybody has their use, and everybody, once again, is divinity having a human experience. Let me look back at my notes to see if I'm doing this justice. Just one second. So once again, we are not like the Jehovah's Witness. We in spirituality, whether you practice Orisha faith, any of the other faiths, if you just have crystals, if you just meditate, if you just like yoga, or you like to just deal with self, whatever it is, alchemy, There is no need to go out and prove anything to anyone. You don't need a t-shirt. It's okay to have one when you're at the right environment and you're around your kindreds. Yes, let it flow. But know when to tuck it in and when to display it. There is a time and place for everything. If you've ever read a book called The Art of War, it talks about moving discreetly to get things done, kind of moving in stealth to get things accomplished. And sometimes it's better to kind of tuck things in and tone things down and socially blend than just be trying to be out there trying to stick out like a sore thumb. That doesn't always work. Once again, life is so much easier when there is less to explain. The less time you have to be fighting for to convince people of your way, the more energy you have to elevate. Reading a book, learning something new, going for a walk, breathing, whatever it is you want to do, talking to your ancestors, you have more energy and more ashe to do the good things you want to do, rather than trying to beat up against a brick wall for people who are not trying to hear it. Another thing is, if you're a woman like me, or you are of my social background, so-called racially or ethnically, then there's a lot of stigma on us already. Yes, African spirituality is the oldest spirituality on the planet, including the origins of Judeo-Christian and Hebrew practices. It all derives from Africa. But it's not necessary to tell everybody that unless they want to know eventually. If they want to get their own books and knowledge on it, do it. Let them do that, but you don't always have to be the one to teach them that. So it's enough stigmas. Why add any more stigmas? We already got enough, that we have to fight against and convince people that we are competent to do this and that, and that we can be trusted. There's enough stereotypes. No need to make any extra stereotypes for yourself. Another thing is too, I already talked about leading by example. Let your life be your billboard rather than your style or your teachings and this and that, and and I like veggie burgers and this and that. Let your life be an example. If it looks like it's working for you, people are gonna follow behind you. I reiterate. I already talked about spirituality is all about your own personal relationship. There's no need to be ashamed. Everything has its time and place, and we are still a part of society. You still need some social connections. That's what I'm saying. Don't try to think you can do everything alone. And yeah, my ancestors gonna do everything for me, but you still need human beings too. And neon people in Yoruba land we say neon. So you still need a community to work with, okay? And everybody in that community is not gonna be woke. Let's see. I've already talked about this. Give me just a second. Once again, some of your biggest supporters are going to be folks that are not woke as you. Thinking that you don't need people is dangerous. It's not the African ancestral way. And let trends teach people. If your sisters, your brothers, your family, if they don't want to follow what you're talking about, let the trends teach them. They'll hop on the bandwagon. People love to hop on trend bandwagons. It's not for you to do. So I'm pretty much at the end of this video. I feel like I'm forgetting some, and then I'm going to have to leave it in the comment section. But that's pretty much the gist of it. I did this as a private live because sometimes it throws off my stream of consciousness. I love to interact, but I did this privately first, so that I can think of everything I wanted to say and make sure I got everything out. Another thing is to shape-shifting. If you are a so-called bruja or wise woman, in Africa they say that some of the women there, they can change into cats. They can go outside of their body and travel and all types of other things. There's no need to display that. So guess what? Shape-shifting is not just about changing into something else. Shape-shifting is also going from having a big head wrap on with Fela Kuti bride makeup on to putting on a hat and maybe, some hair and dressing up and holding your teacup properly and all of those good things. And once again, socially blending. So shape-shifting is okay. It's not about being ashamed. You can be exactly who you are and be authentic without having to dress the part in the wrong environment. So some people may not understand what I'm trying to say, but pardon me, my voice is messing up. But those that do, you'll get a lot further with your prayers, manifestation, and candle work if you learn to socially blend and not try to convert people. So that's the end of this video. I hope it sheds a light, and I wish y'all peace and bliss till the next time. Okay?